Entrepreneur life requires risk, persistence, and a slightly unreasonable belief that this thing you're building is going to work.
And let's not forget copious amounts of caffeine.
Yes, that too.
Hey guys, I'm Alison, the Caffeinated Entrepreneur, an AI-powered business strategist and systems builder with an energy level that should probably come with a warning label.
And I'm Bernie, the man behind the mustache. I'm a virtual events producer who makes sure the tech works, the delivery is clean, and nobody panics, including Allison.
Each week, we are picking up the conversation where my weekly newsletter leaves off. No teaching, no pretending we have it all figured out.
Just two entrepreneurs talking honestly about the highs and lows of growing our own businesses.
And why some ideas are worth sipping on a little bit longer. Welcome to the Caffeinated Entrepreneur. Let's go behind the brew. Hey guys, grab your favorite caffeinated beverage and join us for today's episode where we're going behind the brew of issue 14. Maybe he's just not that into your services. Hey Bernie, happy recording day. How are you feeling today?
I'm feeling pretty good today. It's been a solid day, a couple good events. I'm tired, but it was good.
Friend, I am so tired today. I had a full teaching, 90-minute implementation call where I taught the whole time.
Yeah.
Then I ran an event, which I was guesting in someone else's community, which is super fun. But I'm not going to lie. It's intimidating being in front of someone else's audience because you want to, number one, make sure they look good. Like you better kill it because they brought you in and you don't want to look stupid or make them look stupid. But I also did not know a single person in the room besides the actual host, and I don't even know him that well. So I was like, oh my gosh, this is so awkward. Yeah, I told him he needed to start using you as his producer, just that I have a friend in the room. Let's just be honest. I mean, sure. Your services are good, but it's really all about.
I appreciate the referral.
And then I had a call with my business coach for like an hour, and we did a whole bunch of mindset work, which is exhausting. But that is going to feed into our podcast episode today because, friend, maybe he's just not that into your services. Do you know the movie? Do you remember the movie? Maybe he's just not that into you.
I remember the movie. I don't really remember the movie though.
Right. It was, it's not a movie that I'm going to let my children watch anytime soon. It's, but yeah, I had a situation happen that I refer to in the newsletter, and it's basically all I could think of was there's a scene in the movie where the girl is like, but maybe when he said that, what he really meant was, but maybe he didn't call back because he was actually whatever. And she's like literally like making all these excuses for all these absolute red flags that this guy has no interest in talking to her. And her friend, who's a guy who's been friend zoned, by the way, of course he likes her, but he's been friend zoned.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh my gosh, what is wrong with you? He's not into you. So I feel like that is a really great analogy for the things that happen in business sometimes.
I agree. Yeah, unfortunately, I think we see the shiny lights of a prospect sometimes, and we just get so enamored, and then we start to chase, and we're like, but they're the one I need. This is the one because they kind of fit what I do. They might need what I have, and then it gets weird and it gets awkward, and we become that young lady making excuses why we're continuing to chase.
Why they're ghosting the emails and not paying the invoice. But all right, so long story short, guys, you can go read the newsletter. I'm not going to give all the details of the actual situation, but long story short, had a prospect, last summer who basically was like, oh my gosh, I want to start working with you yesterday. This is amazing. Send me the contract. Let's do the thing. And then a delayed response and kind of led me on for a little bit, for lack of a better term. And I finally got to a point, and y'all, you know me, my not bossy, just aggressively helpful self was literally like, dude, you have 24 hours to either sign and pay or I'm withdrawing the contract. Never heard from that person again, but feeling good that I ended it on my terms. I'm a super professional, but I ended it on my terms because I was like, I don't chase. So I ended that pretty quickly. But then that can of worms got reopened, or that wound was reopened, whichever one you want to see it. When somebody that worked with that person came back to me and was like, "Oh my gosh, we need you, we need you, we need you."
Mhm.
And then literally the same pattern happened again. This time though, I nipped it in the bud way faster. Like there was not a 6-week whatever. First of all, tell me I'm not alone.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, I don't know that I went super awkward as per the story, but I've definitely chased, sent a few more emails, made a few more calls than I probably should have. Came off very desperate and needy, and yeah, it ultimately it didn't lead to a sale. It was not worthwhile doing the chase. And what's
Yeah.
I think is really interesting, Allison, uh, as you and I network, we had a roundtable about this exact topic not all that long ago in the networking group, and there's definitely some shame around follow up. Like people
Yeah.
don't really know where that line is, and it's frankly it's different for everybody, right? What it looks like depending on your industry or what is it that you're doing. So it's one of those things where I feel like it's a constant moving line because
Mm,
even down to the individual, right? Like something that may offend you or, whatever the case may be would be the reason that I buy. Right. And
yeah.
so I think a lot of it is trial and error and trying to figure it out. But is there an actual baseline of what is the appropriate amount of follow up versus, hey, I'm needy and chasing you? I don't know what that is yet.
You're absolutely right. I think that it varies for everybody.
Mhm.
I started thinking of it in terms of like red light, green light, yellow light, or flag, or whatever you want to say. Like, are they giving me the green light to continue the conversation? Am I starting to see a yellow light where it's like this person seems to be backing up or withdrawing in a way that it's starting to feel awkward?
Mhm.
Or is it like, I mean, unfortunately, I don't think people give I give red lights. I get someone sent something in the DMs and I'm like, no, thank you, not interested. Boom. I just shut them down. I just wish, right? People would say that, but they're like, they get real creative with their objections. I'm like, oh, for the love, I'm an adult. I can take it. Just say no.
Right.
Um, this is true of me though. And I've been told this because I'm so direct. I expect others to be as direct
Sure.
and they're just not. And
They're
then
not.
there are people that are very like passive aggressive and sweet that expect me to be passive aggressive and sweet. And I'm like,
No,
I'm just not.
sorry. Sorry, not sorry.
No, no. So one of the things that, like I told you, I literally just had a call with my coach on mindset. But one of the things that she has continued to help me in order to figure out green light, yellow light, red light is to continually ask questions until making them an offer doesn't feel like selling them something.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's just one of those things where even to a point of like, does it even make sense to invite them on a call? Like, would I even reach out to them and be like, hey, I would love to work with you. This is why. If I can't say that, I have no business trying to sell anything to anybody.
hmm I was working with a couple of guys last year, a year before. They had a sales coaching program, really good stuff. And one of the things that they taught in there is that it's not all about the final sale, right? Getting them to put the signature on or pay on the pay the invoice. It's a series of micro sales all along the way, but it's not necessarily you selling them in every step of the process. A lot of the process actually is you selling yourself on a reason to continue to follow up with that person, right? When you're thinking about a qualified lead, like they may look from afar like they're your ideal client, but until you start actually putting them through those filters and asking that question, right? Is this actually the right person for me? Do they check this box, this box, this box? It,
Mhm.
like you shouldn't meet with them. You shouldn't chase them until you've recognized that they are the right person to be talking to.
Yeah. Well, and this is really funny because sometimes all of that, which makes perfect sense, goes straight out the window. And I
Okay.
will say that because I literally had a
100%.
call with somebody, and I kid you not, when I read the person's, like, I do an intake form, when this person showed up to one of my webinars. The like book a call link was shared in the chat.
Mhm.
They chose to book a call. There was no DM conversation. Usually I'm like, hey, send me a DM. Let's chat. We'll determine if, a call makes sense, right?
Right.
This person went straight into the call. I'm reading their intake form and I'm like, no way. Like this, there's no way. But I was on the call. Like they booked the call, had the call. I'm asking all the questions, Bernie. And the whole time I'm thinking, nope, not the right person. Nope, giving this person a way out right now. They can say, no, I'm not interested at any point. Like literally, I felt like I was like just teeing it up. Like, go ahead, just like tell me no. Here, what's the whatever. I kid you not. I didn't sell them on a dang thing. Every question I asked, they answered and then talked themselves into that's why they needed me. Because they couldn't answer my question well. That's why they needed to work with me. And I was like, that's the most bizarre, by far the most bizarre call I ever had, where I was like, the least qualified person, in my opinion, convinced themselves that simply because they couldn't qualify themselves, clearly they needed me. And I was like, I mean, okay, let's go. But it was the most shocking sale ever, to the point that I will then say this. A great sales call was one where you're not selling,
Mhm.
right?
Um,
Like they're selling themselves
right.
because you're kind of coaching them on whatever it is that you do. They almost get a micro coaching session
Mhm.
and then they sell themselves.
That's right. I mean, I don't think there's too many quote unquote sales experts that would say um, that you didn't do that the exact right way with that particular client, right? Because if you are asking questions, if they are the ones doing most of the talking, likely they are either going to talk themselves into it or talk themselves out of it. And in either case, it's okay. And I think that's a really important point that we kind of skimmed past as well, is probably the most powerful mindset that you can have going into a sales call is indifference.
Yeah.
Focus on the process, focus on the questions, focus on what's going to lead to this sale, not necessarily making the sale, because the
Oh,
outcome is going to be what it is if you
mhm.
follow the process correctly.
That is so stinking good. So I don't know if I've said this on the podcast yet. No, I absolutely did. I said it in the episode 2 where we talked about like why I always move the goals.
Mhm.
My coach always challenges me. And I don't know if this is not right for everybody, but it's right for Allison, the overachiever. Go for the no, right?
Yeah.
Like get on enough calls that you're getting 10 no's a month.
Mm.
And then by default, you will get yeses because Allison always moves the goals, right? And Allison always wants more yeses than she set the goal for. But Allison never wants more no's than
Who
she sets
knows?
the goal. So
That was
like
actually a
that,
really smart pivot for you.
right? For me, right? But it takes the pressure off. Perfect. That call that I'm talking about, I'm thinking, well, I could just toggle off a no, like no big deal.
Right.
And it ended up being a yes. It's so bizarre, which of course then my coach laughs and, always,
Yeah.
always with me.
I mean, she knew.
She does. It's scary when you work with someone that knows you as well as she knows me. And I'm kind of like, oh my gosh, I better never cross her. Goodness. It's kind of like I had the clients that I work with. I was their business manager for 2 years and they basically handed their business over to me. And I'm like, they don't even read the social media posts I put out. They don't read their own blog. They don't read their own emails. I was like, you better not make me mad because I could wreck y'all's
Wipe you
reputation.
out.
I didn't even know I wrecked your reputation until it was so over. But that's trust. That's trust.
Yeah.
So, all right. Quick question. So I want to kind of circle back because you said this and I jumped it to make a point, but I want to swing back. So you're talking about getting on calls with people and knowing that you're getting on the calls with the right people and then you're trusting the process. So for you, do you have a specific set of questions? Do you have qualifiers? You're like, this person needs to check these boxes in order to be the kind of person I'm going to make the offer to.
I wouldn't say it's very specific. A lot of, for me, and admittedly, I wouldn't consider myself the best salesman in the world or have the best processes, but for me, it's a lot about how does it feel? I want to feel good about the people that I am working with. So it's really almost like a first date, like a sniff test, if you will. Like when I'm with them, like, do you smell all right? How's your breath? Like, are you looking me in the eye when we
They're
talk?
virtual events, Bernie. You can't smell my coffee breath.
Well,
Thank
no,
goodness.
right? I mean, it's but the same equivalent, right? Like that, I'm looking to see, is this somebody that I want to spend my time with,
Yeah.
regardless of whether they potentially want to buy my services.
Yeah.
Um, and for me, most of my business development now comes from doing virtual events, which you and I both know, if somebody raises their hand and said, I'm going to come to your event and I want to hear the thing you're talking about, they're they're likely interested in the things that you're doing.
Yeah.
So I get most of my leads from there. I'm trying to get as much inbound as possible, right? People raising their hand. And then the other side of it, frankly, is just networking, right? I've
Mhm.
really dialed in who I like to network with. So if it's a referral, the person knows it's a referral and they're coming to me for services. If it's an introduction, it's likely a referral partner. Somebody's already working with the clients that I want to.
Yeah.
So for me, it was a very conscious decision, that I don't want to chase sales anymore. I'm not going to actively try to sell. I'm going to try to get the right people in front of me.
Yeah.
So it's a natural process.
So the chasing isn't even really a thing. Okay. So this is like very specific to you and your services. Do you ever have someone that wants to work with you and you're like, dude, you would suck so bad on camera as a virtual event. And if I work with you, like you're going to embarrass yourself, or the event's going to be a total flop and I don't want my face on that. Like that's very specific to you.
So I will say that early days of COVID, when I had no choice who I worked with,
Mm.
there were a lot of folks that I would have chosen not to work with. They were
Yeah.
simply not equipped. They didn't have the personality to really do it. They had the subject matter expertise, no doubt, but personality of a dirty dish rag. Um, but I would say more recently, when I'm the person in control of choosing whether or not I work with them, but that hasn't happened yet.
No, that's good.
Yeah.
That's really good. Yeah. For me, my whole thing is, and I keep tweaking this, like, again, my coach and I are like, get the data and then tweak, and then get the data and then tweak. And so I've been sort of, I know who gets the most out of my program, but I've also been like, but here are the people that I've been targeting. And what I'm finding in my most recent conversations, the people that I'm quote unquote chasing, even though for me, this will not become a shock to you. I have a very systematic approach to follow up.
No.
And yeah, shocker. I said this on my last webinar. I said to them, I said, listen, you're here at the webinar, which means you're in my funnel, which means I'm going to follow up with you at least 3 times. If you don't want to hear from me, unsubscribe. Just do it. No hard feelings. Just get out of my funnel. Ironically, none of them unsubscribed. But it was just funny because I'm like, I have like, these are the 3 messages that I send. And then depending on those responses, how it navigates from there. And so, yeah, so the kinds of people that I have been recently thinking, like I've been dialing my messaging into, are actually not the people that are currently in my program that are actually getting the most out of it.
Mm.
And I'm like, I had to change my messaging to try to attract who I thought would be ideal. And I'm finding that I am borderline chasing those people.
Mm.
And then I'm coming back to the people currently in my program. And I'm like, why did you sign up for my program? Like, and they're like, well, I know I'm not like your ideal client, blah, blah, blah. And I'm laughing and I'm like, it's like, bing, bing, bing. And I'm like, but you are my ideal client because you're the one that paid me the money.
That
You
paid you
bought
to
the
do it. That's
program
right.
and you're succeeding in the program.
Yeah.
Like, it's not just that they paid me the money, but it's that the fact that their businesses are growing,
Yeah.
they're getting the relief. And so I literally said that to my coach today, and she's like, okay, well, we had to test the new messaging. And you know what? Now we know who your ideal client is. So now we change your messaging and we go back. Like, but it's that idea of, if you find yourself chasing, go back to the messaging.
Right.
And tweak it. And there is nothing wrong with changing your ideal client ever so slightly, because that's just the nature of the beast, right? That's the nature of evolving your business, evolving an offer. It keeps changing.
Well, I think going back to a previous podcast, like if you are not growing, if you are not changing,
Yeah.
if you're stagnant, you're not going to make it to the next.
Yeah.
There's,
Yeah. Are there any like complete red flags or stoplight things where you're like, that's a red flag? I'm not even like right off the bat. I know not doing it, versus that's a not yet. I'm going to come back to them later kind of thing.
No, I haven't really run across anything that caught me quite like that. Usually people are either doing events or they're not, right? Like in what I'm doing, or it is on the radar or it's not. And so it's usually pretty clear whether it's a go or no go in most cases.
Yep.
And I'll be honest with you, if the messaging, more often than not, if the messaging isn't landing, people don't even respond, and that's a clear and easy
That's
no.
yeah,
Then
that's easy.
I don't have to say anything.
I love it. I have discovered for me that the red flag, and it's not like a red flag as in a negative towards that person. They're just not right for my
Right.
program, my
They don't
offer.
qualify, right?
Yeah, they don't qualify. It's the person that's just getting their business off the ground. It's the newbie. Like
Mm.
that is a huge qualifier. So for me, the giant stop, don't pass go, do not collect $200 is, well, I haven't actually started my business yet, but, and it's not that I technically couldn't help those people. They're just not ready for where I want to take them in 90 days. And so, good on you. Like there's lots of people out there that can help that person get going. That's just not it for me.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, if it's typically if it's the money situation, I'll be honest, most people will tell me right up front, and even
Yeah.
before I've told them how much my services cost. They're like, "Yeah, I'm sure you're really good. I can't afford you right now." It's like,
Yeah.
cool, like that's easy. Again, another disqualifier, or qualification metric. But I think what's interesting is that as you grow your business, as I grow my business, as our services continue to evolve and eventually, hopefully, continue raising our prices, it's going to change the level of our clientele, right?
Yeah.
We're going to have to continue iterating, continue changing our messaging so that we're talking to the right people and delivering at the right levels.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and I will laugh because for me, the whole I can't afford you right now is not a red, it's a yellow.
Yeah,
It's a comeback,
that's right.
right? Because I've had multiple people that said no back at, 6 months ago that all of a sudden I had one person just signed up out of the blue. And I was like, I didn't even know they still had the link. What? I don't even know what happened. But I had people that I came back to and that question is always like, hey, how's business going since the last time we talked? I know that you were struggling with XYZ. What happened?
Mhm.
Like, whatever. I've given people a little bit of coaching, a little bit of advice, and I'll be like, did that work out for you?
Yep.
And it opens the conversation up.
Yep.
And then again, asking questions until does it make sense to get on a call? And so it's not chasing, it's yellow, like
Mm.
yellow light for now.
Mhm.
And so we put them in the follow-up, later category.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And it's interesting because in our regular lives, everyday lives, we all choose where we spend our money. If something's important to us,
Yeah.
we will find a way to make it happen.
Yeah.
And so, I think it is important to keep that in mind. Just because, somebody doesn't have a nice pair of shoes on doesn't necessarily mean that they're not going to be able to afford, the
Yeah.
Bentley or whatever, like you
Whatever it
can't
is.
make that assumption because
Yeah.
people will find the money for the things that are important to them. And to circle back to a comment that we made a little bit earlier, a lot of it does depend on what it is that you're selling, right? If you are
Mhm.
selling a widget, right, an actual product, your sales process, your follow-up process, your customer, all of the things are going to look different.
Mhm.
One very important thing that I realized about what I do, and you helped me to realize this, is the sale that I make is very much dependent on whether or not that individual trusts me.
Mhm.
It is pretty much never going to happen the first time that I talk to them.
Yeah.
Even if I identify them as the absolute perfect customer,
Yeah.
it's probably going to take a few conversations for that trust to happen, for them
Yeah.
to agree that I am the right person for them.
Heck yeah.
That's
Buyer's journey. Classic
right.
buyer's journey.
Exactly.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, I love that you brought that up because I think that that's such a good point that you could have this absolute ideal client. They click, they check every box, but they are not at the right place in the buyer's journey yet for you. And your job is to recognize where they are. I love that you said that because I think that that is right there, the definition of chasing. You are constantly trying to sell to somebody who's very early on in the buyer's journey
Yeah.
rather than nurturing them.
Mhm.
And until they're absolutely ready. No, that was so good. And then I was going to make another point, and now I got all excited about that one, and I don't remember what it was.
It may come back to you. I
It,
mean,
it'll it'll
we
come.
can end the podcast now if you want, Allison. It's fine.
Now that you've been like, I dropped the last gold
Drop it.
nugget,
We're done.
and we don't want Alice to come up with anything. So, all right, Bernie. Now I'm going to put the pressure on you to have another. You have to follow your mic drop. with
Uh-oh.
another mic drop. Good
All
luck.
right. Let's see. Let's see.
What is one follow-up habit that you're currently using that makes it feel easier for you to sell your offer or to get person on a sales call? Like, what is something that you're doing that's simply making that process easier?
Um, I'm going to disappoint you because I don't have another mic drop moment, but I'll say this. For me, what has made it feel lighter and staying top of mind for clients is that for me, I implemented a CRM that I didn't have any process before. I had no
Well, a
system.
system. Oh, are you saying the system? System.
Yes, yes.
I just makes me so happy.
There's your mic drop.
It's right, y'all. First system that he's got in place that makes it easier. But it's true. It's true.
It is absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously there's making sure that your messaging is dialed in. That if you're saying the right thing to the right people, it's not going to feel icky or creepy, right? It's going to be providing value.
Yeah.
And then having a system that you're able to do it repeatedly without having to overthink it, that makes it feel a whole lot lighter too.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's really good. All right. So mine is one that, again, it's not one that I do well enough, but I'm pushing. I have the system, but for me, honestly, it's the metrics. It is if Alison wants to sign this many people in the next 2 weeks, she needs to have this many sales calls, which means she has to have this many conversations. Which means she, like, you know what I mean? And really backing up as the numbers person,
Mhm.
if I can see that I need to have 5 conversations every single day for 30 days to generate the kinds of conversations that will lead to sales calls, right? And then the funnel will get smaller. That to me is easier than thinking, oh my gosh, I've got to fill my program and I've got 3 spots open and how am I getting 3? Like, you know what I mean? There's that pressure where I'm just thinking, okay, I just got to have 5 conversations today. I could do that.
Right.
So to me, it's that metric that of backing up the numbers and really looking at what it realistically takes in terms of conversations to get sales in the
Absolutely.
end.
Yeah, I mean, that measurement piece is super super important. What's the saying? You can't improve what you don't measure, right? Like
Yes.
you've got to be able to look at it and say, okay, X plus Y equals Z repeatedly and be able to count on it. What I find kind of interesting is I looked at a similar kind of funnel last year, but in regards to my pricing. And when I would looked at my pricing versus the amount of money that I wanted to make versus how many people I actually needed to talk to based on my conversion rate, I was like, well, holy, that is not going to happen in 2 years. So I got to charge more.
Right. We have
Like,
expectations are not matching reality,
exactly.
and it is time to do
Exactly.
something because the numbers don't lie, baby.
Nope.
The numbers don't lie.
Nope.
No, I love that. I love that. Awesome.
So here's what we want to leave you with. Where in your business are you still waiting on someone to give you an answer that they were never actually going to give anyway? Is it time to delete their email or maybe just tuck it away for a future follow-up a month or so down the road? Only you can tell.
All right, guys. Thanks for listening. Thanks for showing up. Keep taking the next step because the caffeine is strong.
So are you.